Chosen ones, beware and watch out, for we live in end times. The Bible paints a clear picture of the moral and societal decay that will characterize the end times. The behaviors prophesied, such as selfishness, greed, pride, violence, and the rejection of God, are increasingly evident today. From the rise of global conflict to the breakdown of traditional values and the widespread persecution of believers, the signs of the end times manifest in alarming ways, indicating that we are closer to the fulfillment of biblical prophecy than ever before. However, as Christians, we are called to remain steadfast in faith, preparing for the second coming of Christ. The book of Revelation, also known as the Apocalypse, contains numerous signs and prophecies that point to the end times. These signs are symbolic and often presented in visions that reveal the events leading up to the return of Christ and the final judgment. Below are some key signs from Revelation, along with detailed explanations and scriptural references. 1. The appearance of the four horsemen of the Apocalypse. Reference: Revelation 6, 1-8. Explanation: The four horsemen represent various aspects of the calamities that will come upon the earth during the end times. White horse, conquest. This horseman carries a bow and is given a crown, symbolizing conquest or false peace, possibly referring to deceptive leaders or false messiahs who will rise to power. Red horse, war. The rider on this horse is given a great sword and has the power to take peace from the earth, symbolizing widespread warfare and conflict. Black horse, famine. The rider carries a pair of scales, representing famine and economic hardship. The text mentions inflated prices for basic goods like wheat and barley, indicating severe food shortages. Pale horse, death. The final horseman, death, is followed by Hades, symbolizing widespread death through war, famine, disease, and natural disasters. 2. The Great Tribulation reference. Revelation 7:14, Matthew 24:21. Explanation: The Great Tribulation refers to a period of unprecedented suffering and persecution. In Revelation 7:14, it is described as a time when believers who have come out of the Great Tribulation are saved. During this period, the world will experience intense suffering, and believers will face extreme trials for their faith. Matthew 24:21 also refers to this period, emphasizing that it will be a time of distress unmatched in history. 3. The Seven Trumpets reference. Revelation 8, 6-13, no 21, 11, 15-19. Explanation: The seven trumpets are judgments that God sends upon the earth. Each trumpet brings a specific calamity. First trumpet, hail and fire mixed with blood are hurled to the earth, burning up a third of the trees and all green grass. Second trumpet, a great mountain burning with fires thrown into the sea, turning a third of the sea into blood and destroying sea life. Third trumpet, a great star named Wormwood falls from the sky, poisoning a third of the rivers and springs of water. Fourth trumpet, a third of the sun, moon, and stars are struck, darkening a third of the day and night. Fifth trumpet, first woe. Locust-like creatures emerge from the abyss, tormenting those without the seal of God. Sixth trumpet, second woe. 4 angels are released to kill a third of mankind through a massive army. Seventh trumpet, third woe. This trumpet announces the kingdom of the world becoming the kingdom of the Lord, signaling the end of time and the final judgment. 4. The rise of the Antichrist, the beast. Reference Revelation 13 verse 10, 2 Thessalonians 2, 3-4. Explanation. The Antichrist, also referred to as the beast in Revelation, will rise during the end times and will have immense power. In Revelation 13:1-10, the beast is described as having 10 horns and 7 heads, symbolizing its authority and dominion over the earth. The beast will blaspheme God, wage war against the saints, and demand worship from all people. 2 Thessalonians 2, 3-4 further identifies this figure as the man of lawlessness, who will exalt himself as God and sit in the temple of God, deceiving many. 5. The false prophet reference. Revelation 13, verse 11-18. Explanation. The false prophet, or the second beast, will support the Antichrist by performing miraculous signs to deceive the world. This false prophet will cause people to worship the Antichrist and will institute the mark of the beast, which is required for buying and selling. This mark is identified by the number 666, Revelation 13:18. Symbolizing the allegiance to the Antichrist and the world system he controls. 6. The mark of the beast reference. Revelation 13 verse 16-18. Explanation. The mark of the beast is a physical or symbolic mark placed on the right hand or forehead of individuals, representing their allegiance to the Antichrist. Those who refuse the mark will be unable to participate in the global economy. The mark is associated with the number 666, which signifies a counterfeit of God's perfection, represented by the number 7. Acceptance of this mark means worship of the beast and rejection of God, and it leads to eternal damnation. Revelation 14:9-11. 7. The two witnesses reference. Revelation 11 verse 1-14. Explanation. During the end times, God will send 2 prophetic witnesses who will preach in Jerusalem for 1,260 days, roughly 3.5 years. These witnesses will perform miraculous signs and will have the power to shut the sky, preventing rain, turn waters into blood, and strike the earth with plagues. Eventually, the beast will kill them, and their bodies will lie in the streets for 3.5 days. However, they will be resurrected and ascend to heaven, after which a great earthquake will occur, signaling God's continued judgment. 8. The Bowls of God's Wrath. Reference Revelation 16:1-21. Explanation. The 7 bowls of God's wrath are the final judgments poured out on the earth during the end times. First bowl, painful sores afflict those who have the mark of the beast. Second bowl, the sea turns to blood, killing all sea creatures. Third bowl, rivers and springs turn to blood. Fourth bowl, the sun scorches people with intense heat. Fifth bowl, darkness covers the kingdom of the beast, and people gnaw their tongues in agony. Sixth bowl, the Euphrates River dries up, preparing the way for the kings of the east and the final battle of Armageddon. Seventh bowl, a massive earthquake and hailstorm occur, destroying cities and causing devastation. 9. The Battle of Armageddon. Reference: Revelation 16 verse 16, Revelation 19:11-21. Explanation: The Battle of Armageddon is the final confrontation between the forces of good and evil. In Revelation 16:16, the armies of the world are gathered at Armageddon, a place in Israel, for a great battle. In Revelation 19, Christ returns as a conquering king, riding on a white horse. He defeats the armies of the Antichrist and casts the beast and the false prophet into the lake of fire. This battle marks the end of human rebellion and the beginning of Christ's millennial reign. 10. The Final Judgment. The Great White Throne Judgment. Reference: Revelation 20, verse 11 to 15. Explanation: After the defeat of the Antichrist and Satan, the final judgment will take place. Revelation 20, verse 11 to 15 describes the Great White Throne Judgment, where all the dead, great and small, are resurrected and stand before God. Books are opened, including the Book of Life. Those whose names are not written in the Book of Life are cast into the lake of fire, which is the second death. This event marks the final separation of the righteous from the wicked. 11. The New Heaven and New Earth Reference. Revelation 21, 1-7. Explanation: After the final judgment, God will create a new heaven and a new earth, where there will be no more death, mourning, crying, or pain. Revelation 21, 1-7 describes the eternal state of peace and joy for those who have remained faithful to God. The New Jerusalem, the holy city, will descend from heaven, and God will dwell with his people forever. This is the ultimate fulfillment of God's redemptive plan. In addition to the vivid symbolic imagery in the book of Revelation, the Bible provides descriptions of how the behavior of people during the end times will change. These behavioral signs are crucial in understanding how society and human conduct will deteriorate, aligning with the prophetic warnings about the end times. Let's explore the prophesied behaviors and compare them with what we see in today's world, using both Revelation and other biblical passages like 2 Timothy 3:1-5 and Matthew 24:1. People will be lovers of themselves. Prophecy. In 2 Timothy 3:1-2, it says, "But understand this, that in the last days there will come times of difficulty, for people will be lovers of self." Comparison today. The rise of individualism and narcissism in society is a clear manifestation of this prophecy. Social media platforms have created a culture of self-promotion, where people often seek validation through likes, shares, and followers. Obsession with personal image and self-fulfillment has become a dominant theme in modern culture, with a focus on materialism, vanity, and self-centered behavior. 2. Greed and materialism. Prophecy. 2 Timothy 3:2 continues by saying people will be lovers of money and greedy for gain. Comparison today. Materialism is rampant in today's world. The accumulation of wealth, consumerism, and the pursuit of luxury at any cost have become normalized. Financial scandals, corporate corruption, and political greed are evident everywhere, from global leaders down to everyday individuals. People strive for more wealth, often at the expense of ethics or compassion for others. 3. Disobedience to parents. Prophecy. 2 Timothy 3:2 also states that in the last days people will be disobedient to their parents. Comparison today. We see increasing cases of rebellion against authority, not just toward parents, but also against traditional moral values. Young people today often reject the wisdom and authority of elders, preferring to follow their own desires. In many cultures, respect for family structures has weakened, and individual independence is encouraged, sometimes at the expense of family unity and respect. 4. Ungratefulness and unholiness. Prophecy. 2 Timothy 3:2 also mentions people will be ungrateful and unholy. Comparison today, there is a growing lack of gratitude in modern society, where entitlement and expectation often replace thankfulness. People are becoming more ungrateful for what they have and continually seek more. The term unholy refers to behavior that is impure and morally corrupted. We witness moral decay in entertainment, media, and daily life, where sin, vice, and indulgence are promoted and even celebrated. 5. Pride and arrogance. Prophecy. 2 Timothy 3 verse 2 speaks of people being proud and arrogant. Comparison today. The spirit of pride and arrogance can be seen across multiple spheres, from the prideful boasting of public figures to the common man's need to elevate self above others. The rise of self-glorification and self-worship has led many to reject humility and compassion. People in today's world often pride themselves on status, appearance, or achievements, rather than focusing on their character or humility before God. 6. Lack of love. Prophecy. Matthew 24:12 says, "Because of the increase of wickedness, the love of most will grow cold." Comparison today. The world today is filled with the pursuit of pleasure, entertainment, and hedonism. People are obsessed with seeking thrills, satisfying desires, and indulging in lifestyles that prioritize personal gratification over spiritual growth or righteousness. Whether through addiction to substances, entertainment, or consumerism, pleasure has replaced worship for many people, and God is often neglected in favor of fleeting worldly pleasures. 8. Increased wickedness and violence. Prophecy. Matthew 24:37-39 compares the last days to the days of Noah, a time of great wickedness and corruption on earth. Similarly, Revelation 9:20-21 speaks of how even after great judgments, people would not repent of their murders, sorceries, sexual immorality, or thefts. Comparison today. Violence, crime, and corruption are widespread globally. There are more frequent reports of heinous crimes such as human trafficking, terrorism, and abuse. Modern societies face growing violence, gang activity, and even genocides. Coupled with the entertainment industry's frequent glorification of violence, society seems to be descending into the very wickedness mentioned in the prophecies. 9. Scoffing and mocking of the faith. Prophecy. 2 Peter 3:3-4. Though not in Revelation, it is relevant to end times prophecies. It says, "In the last days scoffers will come, scoffing and following their own evil desires. They will say, 'Where is this coming he promised?'" Comparison today. There is a growing trend of mocking faith, particularly Christianity. Across media, public discourse, and education, faith in God and religious principles are often ridiculed, while atheism or agnosticism is increasingly presented as more enlightened. Many deny the second coming of Christ, questioning the truth of biblical prophecy and dismissing religion as outdated. 10. False prophets and deceivers. prophecy. Matthew 24 verse 11 warns that many false prophets will appear and deceive many people. Revelation 13:11-14 speaks of a false prophet performing miraculous signs to deceive people into following the Antichrist. Comparison today, we see numerous cults, false teachers, and deceptive leaders who lead people astray with false doctrines or promises of enlightenment, prosperity, or salvation. Many religious leaders manipulate their followers for personal gain, distorting the message of the gospel to suit their own agendas. Additionally, the rise of ideologies that replace or twist biblical truth is another sign of spiritual deception at work today. 11. Persecution of Christians. Prophecy. Matthew 24:9 says, "Then you will be handed over to be persecuted and put to death, and you will be hated by all nations because of me." Comparison today. Christian persecution is prevalent in many parts of the world. In some countries, Christians face imprisonment, torture, and even death for their faith. Religious freedom is under threat globally, with increasing societal pressure to conform to secular norms. Believers are often marginalized or criticized for standing firm in their beliefs, especially regarding moral issues. 12. Increase in knowledge and travel prophecy. Daniel 12:4 speaks of a time when many shall run to and fro, and knowledge shall increase. Comparison today, the explosion of technological advancements, scientific discoveries, and easy global travel are unprecedented. The internet and digital communication have made information instantly accessible, and we are living in an age of unparalleled knowledge and travel. Humanity has advanced in ways that were unimaginable even a few decades ago, fulfilling this prophecy. 13. Global distress and fear prophecy. Luke 21:25-26 mentions signs in the sun, moon, and stars, with nations in anguish and perplexity, and people fainting from terror of what is coming. Comparison today. The global issues we face, climate change, pandemics, economic collapse, wars, and natural disasters, have created an environment of fear and distress. Nations are grappling with uncertainty, and people are increasingly anxious about the future. This widespread fear of global crises aligns with the prophecy of increasing distress as the end approaches.